everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Shannon Slatton. We begin today with a story from one of our own. All this week, we've been shining a spotlight on the digestive diseases Crohn's and colitis. They are often called invisible illnesses because you can't see them from the outside. Crohn's and colitis are considered inflammatory bowel diseases. There's no cure, and they are sometimes fatal. Here's reporter Sonya Goins, who bravely shares her story.
2018 definitely did not start off well for me. January 1st, I was admitted to the hospital, and I had bleeding ulcers in my colon. And the doctors gave me only two choices. One, to either remove my entire colon, or they said we can try something called Total Parenteral Nutrition, which basically meant that I would not be allowed to eat, and instead I would be fed through an IV bag and through my veins. And I had done this before, but this one was a little bit more drastic. I could only have coffee, broth, and suck on candies. Hi everybody, my name is Sonya Goins. So I made a little video while I was in the hospital. Is inflammation explaining, hey, I've got this IV bag and it's gonna keep me live for the next 8 months or so. Not being able to eat, just like, it did a number on me mentally. Like, I still had to feed and cook for my kids, right? So I would fix breakfast for my son, and I would smell the oatmeal and stuff, and my mouth would water, and then at work, people were eating all around me, and I couldn't eat, and it was really tough. It was to the point where I had to get professional help, and that's something I very rarely talk about, but to me, almost fighting mentally was more tougher than actually the physical aspect of dealing with Crohn's disease. I would have never been able to do this without my faith, you know. There were times when I didn't even think I was gonna make it, you know, but you know, I kept praying, and with the support of my friends and my family, you know, I got through this. I was kind of depressed. I mean, I didn't like the image I saw. You know, I had this, carrying this IV bag, and I had this catheter in my chest. By the way, I named my catheter Hopeful. Because after I got through this period, I thought, I'm alive, and I am hopeful. I'm hopeful that, you know, a cure will be found. Going forward, I decided that I was not going to let Crohn's take anything else away from me. So previous to getting sick in January, I had signed up for 2 half marathons. So I'm like, I'm gonna do this. Everybody thought I was crazy, even my family. And I decided to walk a half marathon in March. And this was only like 2 or 3 months after getting this IV treatment. And I did it, and it was one of the most proudest moments in my life. And recently, about a month or so ago, I finished the Savannah Half Marathon. I had to do a combination of run walk, but that particular race was dedicated to the pediatric support group through the Crohn's Colitis Foundation here in Minnesota. These kids helped to motivate me, and that's what kind of got me through this. You know, I see all these kids around me that are suffering through these same digestive diseases, and I'm like, well, heck, if they can do it, I can do it, you know? Plus, you know, I want to be strong for my family too. I want my kids to know that just because bad things happen in your life, you don't have to give up. So if there's a message out there, that's the one I want to give out. Is like, just because things get hard, don't give up. It was really hard telling my own story, but I'm feeling so much better. But I'm not out of the woods. Every week I add a little more food to my diet. This ordeal was challenging, but it made me stronger. After all, you can't be shy when you're walking around with a backpack full of IV fluids. I'm more confident at work and in my personal life. I started a blog called Sonya Strong, and I started a podcast with a coworker called Conversations About Crohn's and Colitis. For more information on inflammatory bowel disease, check out the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. They have a ton of resources. And Shannon, I want to thank the CCX staff and especially the photographers for having my back. So thank
You've
you.
become such an advocate, and it's really hard. We ask people to share our stories all the time, but you reached out and shared your own, and that was really tough. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so thank you for being willing to share that.
And thanks to Ben Kroll for putting that together.
It was
He
a
did
really
good
great
job.
piece.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sonya.
Thanks.